This is Daily Indian News Podcast from IDN Podcast Service.
This podcast is hosted by Jeff in August. Today's stories are:
Coronavirus live updates, lockdown extended in Manipur till the 15th of July. China sent martial artists to India border before deadly clash, state media. Crawford, MP, UP announce house-to-house survey, centre says encouraging results after proactive steps. Urged by Trump to decouple, US companies want more China faster. India unlocking key sectors that remained in lockdown for decades, PM Modi in Mann Ki Baat. Maharashtra lockdown, Uddhav Thackeray says curbs will continue after the 30th of June.
Our news podcast is now available on YouTube. Subscribe our channel for podcast updates and episodes. Stay tuned with us. Link is in the description. Hope all of you may subscribe. Try the link below.
Coronavirus live updates. Lockdown extended in Manipur till the 15th of July, with 19,906 new cases, highest single-day spike so far. India's COVID-19 count touched 528,859, including 203,051 active cases. 410 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours and the cumulative toll reached 16,095 deaths. China sent martial artists to India border before deadly clash, state media. Beijing, China reinforced its troops near the Indian border with mountain climbers and martial arts fighters shortly before a deadly clash this month, state media reported. Tensions are common between the two nuclear-armed neighbors and the mountainous border terrain, but this month's fighting was their deadliest encounter in over 50 years. 5 new militia divisions, including former members of a Mount Everest Olympic torch relay team and fighters from a mixed martial arts club, presented themselves for inspection at Lhasa on the 15th of June. Official military newspaper China National Defense News reported. State broadcaster CCTV showed footage of hundreds of new troops lining up in the Tibetan capital. Tibet commander Wang Hejiang said the Enbo Fight Club recruits would greatly raise the organization and mobilization strength of troops and their rapid response and support ability, China National Defense News reported, although he did not explicitly confirm their deployment was linked to ongoing border tensions. Chinese and Indian troops clashed later that day in the most violent confrontation between the two powers in decades, in the Ladakh region 1,300 kilometers away.
30-second sponsorship ad.
If you haven't about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make podcast. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, ABD, many more. You can make money from your podcast, with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, in one place. Download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started.
Powered by Anchor.
COVID, MP, UP announce house-to-house survey, centre says encouraging results after proactive steps. New Delhi, with a record spike of nearly 20,000 cases in a day, India's COVID-19 tally mounted to 528,859 on Sunday and the death toll rose to 16,095. Meanwhile, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh have announced door-to-door surveys to check the surge of cases. The centre noted that recoveries exceeded active COVID cases by over 1 lakh, stressing that proactive steps taken by it along with the states and union territories are showing encouraging results. The number of active cases stand at 203,051, while 309,712 people have recovered and 1 patient has migrated, according to the updated data. Thus, around 58.56% patients have recovered so far, an official said. The graded Preemptive and proactive steps taken by the government of India along with the states and UTs for prevention, containment and management of COVID-19 are showing encouraging results, the Union Health Ministry said in a statement. India saw a surge of 338,324 infections from the 1st of June till date as the lockdown restrictions eased. The country reported 19,906 cases on Sunday. This is the fifth consecutive day that coronavirus infections have increased by more than 15,000. As the country enters the unlock phase, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said it will have to focus on defeating coronavirus and bolstering the economy. India has always transformed adversities into stepping stones to success and this year won't be different, he said. Urged by Trump to decouple, US companies want more China faster. Just as the US president urges American companies to ditch China, many of them can't get more of China fast enough. Consider the voyage of the container ship Melina, which set sail Wednesday from a Chinese port near Shenzhen with products bound for US households, a hulking symbol of how the flow of goods is adapting in a global economy crippled by a pandemic. Capable of carrying almost 4,300 containers, she's downright petite in an industry where the biggest can handle more than 20,000. The Melina is part of a budding fleet of smaller vessels that COVID-19 has thrust into service between the world's biggest economies. Smaller means faster. She'll dock in Los Angeles on the 6th of July after a 12-day non-stop journey, a week ahead of a larger ship doing the same route. With the extra speed comes a price that's as much as double the cost of standard Trans-Pacific service, which is already skyrocketing because the world's biggest shipping companies have scaled back capacity by about 25% this quarter and may cut it 10% in the third quarter, according to industry observers. They're downshifting because broadly they see demand recovering only slowly and plenty of fog on the global economic horizon. India unlocking key sectors that remained in lockdown for decades. PM Modi in Mann Ki Baat, New Delhi, in the 66th edition of his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday said that at a time the country is gradually unlocking the lockdown imposed to check the spread of coronavirus, India has also started unlocking various sectors like space, coal and agriculture. These reforms will spur growth in the country, he said, pointing at several reforms recently kicked off by his government. The PM says, amid the time of unlocking lockdown, India is also unlocking various sectors, which had remained chained for decades. For several years, India was in the lockdown in the coal sector. The clearance for commercial auction has changed the situation drastically. A few days ago, historic decisions were taken in the space sector, with these reforms of opening up the sector for private players and setting up a new space board. The space sector got rid of the lockdown that had not allowed it to prosper for years. Likewise, the farm sector too witnessed several reforms. The unlocking, on one hand, will allow freedom to farmers to sell their produce anywhere and to anybody and, on the other, will help them avail of more loans. With these historic decisions, the country will not only work in the direction of becoming Atmanirbhar, but the reforms will also open up new avenues for development in the country. Maharashtra lockdown. Uddhav Thackeray says curbs will continue after the 30th of June. Mumbai, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray on Sunday said the lockdown curbs in the state will continue beyond the 30th of June. In a televised address, Thackeray ruled out easing the restrictions, adding the state still faces coronavirus threat. Will lockdown be lifted after the 30th of June? The clear answer is no, Thackeray tweeted later. The unlock process, dubbed Mission Begin Again by the state government, is being gradually implemented to put the economy back on track, Thackeray said in his address. Thackeray said there will be some restrictions in the state after the 30th of June but more relaxations will be offered gradually. The state has now started the unlock process under the Mission Begin Again. There will be some restrictions even after the 30th of June, but eventually more and more relaxations will be offered to the people, he said. The relaxations will be offered on case-to-case basis. For example, passenger transportation will continue to have some restrictions but some local services will be resumed or allowed to function, said a senior official from the CM's office. Thackeray emphasized on maintaining stringent discipline as COVID-19 cases are still being reported in large numbers.
That's it. It's from India Daily Podcast Service. Thank you.